So who was Kelly McCrimmon scouting in Calgary last night? VGK's first of 3 games in the New York metro area tonight coming up against the Devils, and our predictions for today's game at the arena they call The Rock.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We are brought to you by our new sponsor, FanDuel. Sign up today at FanDuel.com/lockdown and make sure that you place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose. At FanDuel.com, once again, /lockdown. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick, as I mentioned, at Lockdown VGK, at TD Chris G, at Tony Cardasco on Twitter. Please also subscribe to our YouTube page, Locked On Golden Knights. So last night we got some news out there in the Twitter sphere. TSN's Salim Valji reporting last night that there was a sighting. Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon, your guy, was in Calgary last night at the Flames Blue Jackets game. We have the All-Star game coming up, so we'll have a lot of chitter-chatter with the GMs and front office folks and all that. So we know that that is one of the next upcoming landmarks, if you will, as we head toward the March the 3rd trade deadline. With VGK, there could be a sense of urgency, right? Just what I'm sensing, right, Chris? To add some scoring punch, possibly. Mark Stone could be headed to LTIR. You feel now, I feel that they might have accelerated the process to try to find someone as a replacement for Mark Stone. So last week, right, we saw Bo Horvat, his name circulated, one of 6 teams interested, VGK. And last night, I think that, I'm just guessing here, one of the top names that's out there in the free agent market right now is Gustav Nyquist of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Let's see his stats. He'd fit in just fine because he's minus 11, but 10 goals, 12 assists, 22 points on the season. So he would be a rental, obviously. He could play either the left or the right wing. Is that who he was there to take a look at? Any other ideas on what could be up with a general manager? Because now he's become quite visible, and make no mistake, we're starting to find that VGK is making inquiries for players. They would need some. Is this for scoring punch?
So I got a different angle. I was just thinking about it this morning, and everything you read, you don't really see a lot of players on the Columbus or the Flames side on the big trade acquisition deadline targets, if you will. So what are we missing here in Las Vegas? If you follow anyone here on Twitter that talks about, I don't know if you can redo your camera, Tony, but we got a heck of a meme coming right now. But physicality, that is the one thing that we keep on hearing all about. You know, I hear it in Twitter all the time. And I looked William Karlsson dead in the eye and asked him about the team's physicality and lack thereof, right as Kelly McCrimmon comes through the door and is staring me dead in the eye. So Kelly McCrimmon heard me and he got an idea. He fueled up the jet, went to Calgary, watched that game. I think Boone Jenner is the person of possible interest. Boone Jenner, 6'2", 207. I'll take the over on both of those. Boone Jenner is, for lack of a better term, the way I view Boone, he is a mean SOB out there on the ice. He will throttle you. He will crush you, but can also put up points. Going through the last few seasons, currently 24 points this game on 36 games played. Previous season, 59 games played, 44 points. Only 17 points in the 2021. I believe that was a shortened season. 70 points, 24 games. So there's a little bit of, I don't know how much scoring you're going to necessarily get, but Boone can definitely put the puck in the net, can get some assists. And also, not been playing on a great team the last couple of years. So you put some firepower around him, he can certainly do something. Could fill a role in the wing that Phil Kessel is basically not taking, or could play down the middle and give us more center depth, which is never a bad thing come playoffs. So Boone Jenner is my outside the box. Now Boone, I believe, is the captain of Columbus. So trading for captain, that's obviously, but we know what Columbus is doing. They are scrubbing, they are getting rid of everything, trying to get themselves in the Bedard chase, like a few other teams. So trade your captain away, have the players be a little more upset, and have them play a little bit worse, and put yourself in a spot. Boone Jenner only carries, I believe, a $3.7 million hits, which is a lot easier to cook, if you will, in the books versus what Patrick Kane and all these top tier one acquisitions are going to take. And the other thing is, if they go for someone that's in that $3 and $4 million range, you could work with that. There's ways on this roster to hide $3 or $4 million. Whereas, someone like Patrick Kane comes in, you're not just giving up draft picks and prospects. You have to go into the roster and do something. And I don't know if VGK has a deep enough roster to trade anybody right now. As far as you're not trading Kessel, you're not getting anything. Alec Martinez, they're not trading. They're not trading his outputs and that type of shot blocking defenseman. You're not trading a young Nick Hague. So I think you might have to go a little bit on the cheaper route and scrape for someone who might just be, that playoff hero that everyone falls in love with. Insert Boone Jenner.
Okay. I was looking up Nyquist's numbers, and for Nyquist, he's at $5.5 million. So if they're going to place Mark Stone on LTIR, then that could be a possibility.
No doubt.
Does McCrimmon show up often in press boxes to scout teams?
Maybe. So when I made note last week when I was covering Monday's game against Dallas and Thursday's game against Detroit, I had Steve Yzerman, Nick Lidstrom on Monday. They were literally like 6 chairs to my left scouting the game. Oddly enough, Detroit happened to be playing that night elsewhere. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then Thursday night, you had the same group up in the box over my left shoulder. So point being is other GMs are traveling right now. And if it's not GMs, you see, like when you walk in, at least at Vegas, there's a big screen TV that lists all the media outlets and all the scouts in attendance and things like that. So you can literally see, okay, in this box, there's the Edmonton Oilers. In this box, there's the Colorado Avalanche. This box is where the players sit and stuff. So there is a roadmap that says who is where and everything. So point being is all the GMs, especially right now, are showing up at various arenas. And here's another thing also. He may not, Kelly McCrimmon, that is, he may not have been scouting anybody. They might be looking to make some type of deal where a third team is involved, a 3-team deal where we park some salary, you park some, whatever that may be. So there may not be anyone on that team that was being scouted, but there could be a little triangle happening too. So who knows? There's a lot of things, and a lot of right now is probably when they're kicking the tires, right? This is when you walk into the car dealership, you test drive a few cars, and then you go to the next car dealership, and then probably, around the All-Star, I'm not sure. I'm guessing there might be a freeze around the All-Star break like there is around Christmas time. I don't know. But point being, they're going to intensify. And you always see the 11th hour deals, right? You always see the deals right at the trade deadline, minutes before the trade deadline. I think Mark Stone's deal came together right as the deadline approached a couple of years ago. So, you do have that craziness, but I also think there's more value in making a trade now versus waiting until the deadline. One, because in VGK's case, we're getting buried in the standings, call it what it is. They need a player now, not March 3rd. And number two, I think if you wait until the longer you wait, I think the price goes up a little bit because there's desperation. There's fear of missing out. There's the emotional aspect of getting a deal done to say you made a deal. So make the trade as soon as possible, whatever that may be. And that's also going to give us an idea of where Mark Stone sits. We're not replacing Mark Stone. I don't think anyone's going to replace Mark Stone unless we get that tier 1, Tarasenko, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, that type of player to replace what they bring to the locker room and the scoring.
Yeah, it appears as though they will go after a rental of sorts.
No doubt.
Another rental that was on the ice last night, Milan Lucic, the left winger from Calgary, because again, his contract is expiring.
No,
but they're both in the $5.5 million range. And at the All-Star break, yes, they might not be wheeling and dealing, but they'll be going out and having a lot of Pete DeBeers.
Pete DeBeers, that's pretty
But they'll
funny.
be hanging out a lot. Yeah, for sure. Do they replace when they replace Mark Stone? It appears as though this is evident. Um, how many pieces, like who from VGK would you say? How many pieces would you say are on the trading block? Because it's getting sort of interesting around here. And then Phil Kessel, I just think he should go with Rick Tocchet to Vancouver, right into the sunset.
Maybe next year.
Play every game. I don't know what his worth is to this team right now. I'm sorry.
Listen, I've tried my best to defend Kessel and his play and what's coming, and it's tough. It's tough. I mean, we can look at the stats here, but I think with Phil Kessel, it's about the eye test. What do you see when Phil Kessel is on the ice? Do you see, that scoring threat? Do you see sustained pressure? All of these, all insert whatever pun you want. So 48 points, he's 8-11, 8 goals, 11 assists, minus 12 right now. So I mean, he's on pace for about 18 goals and like 20 assists, call it. That's not necessarily. And now listen, for the contract, maybe that's the Phil Kessel we found. Maybe using the Moneyball reference, he's not a $7.5 million player like David Justice was when the Athletics signed him. Where we signed him for the player that he is, and we want to milk every last ounce of hockey out of him that he has until he wants to stay in this show, right? We can keep going on and on and on. But Kessel, again, there is a different gear when the playoffs come. That's what I'm holding out hope for. Kessel, I don't think is going to be traded, going to be moved. I think trading a free agent the year you sign them, it's not the greatest form either as far as for future free agents coming to the city. It's something you don't see. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. You don't see it as often. So now next year, is Kessel going to be a VGK? I'll take the under on that most likely, unless they do make a run and he becomes the playoff hero. I mean, Kessel does have a good track record in the playoffs. So that is the only thing I'm left holding out hope for with Phil Kessel.
Coming up next, VGK traveling tonight. They will be at The Rock in Newark, New Jersey.
The Rock, I like that.
Yeah, the Prudential The Rock. We'll talk about that game. We'll preview it when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. The NFL playoffs are here, and we are so excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they are the number one sportsbook in America. That is FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports a lot of fun and easy and entertaining. New customers, if you join today, you can get started with $150 in free bets. That's right, $150 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up today, FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props, which are so popular. Plus, you can even combine your bets for a chance at the bigger payout with a same game parlay. So football fans, don't miss out. It's that time of the year. Place your first $5 bet, get $150 in free bets, win or lose at FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick here from Las Vegas. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. Thanks for making us your first listen and your first view each and every day. I have to apologize for all the gremlins in my system. It's something about recording in the morning here, in this spacious studio. Something happens here. But
you mentioned, Tony, that Black Mountain, right? How like when I drive home, they turn off like whatever button it is that produces waves around the valley, because I never get the entire post game when I'm driving from T-Mobile to Henderson. I think wherever you live, they need to turn the button on so we get Wi-Fi going early in the morning for you.
Well, we build all these nice arenas and places and spots and hotels and venues, and they forget to add extra towers. I think that's part of the problem. So VGK traveling to the birthplace of me, Newark, New Jersey. They'll play the first of 3 in the New York metro area. Again, I love these 4:30 in the afternoon games. These are super. and really
Yeah,
do
I'm with
enjoy
you on
that.
that.
Yeah, and the Devils team won 13 in a row, I think, earlier this season, right? And what we saw out of this team was the last 10 games, the Devils now at 7-1-2. They are 2 points behind Carolina in the Metropolitan Division. We remember the New Jersey fan base, and we recall that they wanted to fire Lindy Ruff, and then they were saying, sorry, Lindy, the chance, and everything else. This is a team that is much, much better, Chris, on the road than they are at home. Sounds very familiar. They are third best in puck possession, which it definitely concerns me when you talk about VGK. They might just play keep away if they get an early lead and what have you. However, even though they possess the puck a lot, the last few games, like Lindy Ruff is concerned, like Bruce Cassidy was, about a lack of urgency earlier in the season. He's concerned that they're not generating a ton of chances, even though they've won 7 of their last 10 with 2 shootouts.
Yeah, I mean that's listen, you're never gonna, as a leader of a team on the office side, you're never going to be content until you win the last game of the year. More Moneyball references, of course. Looking up and down the stats for the Devils, Jesper Bratt 46 points. Dougie Hamilton as a defenseman, a 6'6", 230 pounds defenseman, 40 points, 11 goals, 29 assists. Nico Hisshire, 45 points. Hughes sitting at 58 points. Jack Hughes, a coming out party right now. That's awesome to see. He'll score 40 plus this season. Vanacek doing well between the pipes. Mackenzie Blackwood is doing well as a backup between the pipes. I mean, there's a lot of comparables to the VGK here, right? Both teams, hot starts. Both teams have leveled off a little bit. But New Jersey's, here comes my graphics here. New Jersey's leveling off is still up here, whereas VGK is leveling off is a few notches below right now. Whereas, VGK is still riding that wave from that hot starts and have failed to turn it on since then. They're basically a 500 team since that 13-2, 13-3 start. Whereas the Devils, they're doing just fine. They're doing what VGK should have been doing. But again, the injuries, I get all the discussions we've been having about the Vegas Golden Knights. But, this is definitely the unexpected. As good as Boston is playing right now and as amazing of a story that is, it's not shocking that the Bruins are playing good hockey. Whereas the Devils, I don't know. I mean, we can go back in our emails and see what their points predictions were, but they're probably already flirting with the over on their points predictions, and we're still, 30-something games left in the season right now. A good example, like looking at this roster, right? Highest paid player is $7 million, at least on the active side right now. A lot of players in that, $3 and $4 million range. So not, a team that is not necessarily in the same, right up against the cap, right? I mean, I don't know what their number is. I'll look at that in a second here, but this is a good roster composition without having a ton of high-end players. A couple familiar names we're going to see: Tomas Tatar and Eric Holla tonight as well.
And they're on the Jack Hughes line. So Hughes is centering those two castoffs, which is pretty interesting. So that should be kind of fun to watch that matchup tonight. Ruff is so much like Bruce Cassidy and at their old school, and they rip their players as well. I know after the loss to Philadelphia, Darren Severson, he ripped him for a costly turnover, like publicly. They will undress the players. It's an old school mentality. And it's pretty funny, though, to watch these two. So I like the coaching matchup as well in this contest.
So just question here. How, and we know for a fact, because we've seen players interact with us on Twitter, insert Logan Thompson, who has also deleted his Twitter in the last few months or so. But how often do players watch the coach's post-game press conference? I wonder, like, how many of them literally on their way home or the next day, whatever it is, they will go on their team's website, the Twitter, and watch and see if they were called out, good, bad, or otherwise, by the coach. I would assume a lot of the older veterans, they don't care anymore, but the younger kids, I definitely think they're looking at it. And maybe those that wear the letters on the teams might watch. I find that fascinating. We're never going to know. I guess if someone did one of those blind polls where no one has put their name behind it, it would be interesting to see the results.
Yeah, that would be interesting because I think a lot of them do, and particularly the younger guys, and just want to see if they got a shout out or what have you. What about those jerseys that say Jersey on them? I think I'm hoping they wear those tonight.
Are those like the black with the white stripes in them? Oh, they're fine. I like
it just
them.
says Jersey on the front, which is kind of funny. It's redundant. They're talking about a Timo Meyer acquisition at the deadline.
Everybody's talking about Timo Meyer, but go ahead.
He's one of the favorites. No, I think, I think he would fit in pretty well to make that last push. They're definitely going to be buyers here down the stretch, but this team is sneaky good, I think.
They're not.
Just
That's not sneaky anymore, Tony. The book is out. They're good. They're getting goaltending. They got young talent. They have veteran leadership. This is a team that's making noise. Imagine if they were in the West. All right. Imagine if they were in the West. What they would imagine if any of these top teams that are in the Metro and the Eastern Conference were in the West, how far they'd be running away with things right now. I mean, this just goes to show the lack of parity for the Eastern and Western Conference right now. I can go up and down the standings, and I can easily make a case for what 8 or 9 teams. Maybe that's a little heavy, but definitely. I mean, geez, the top 4 teams in the league right now are all in the East, and then you got Dallas, Winnipeg, VGK, and then Tampa, Seattle. I mean, there's maybe what 3, 4-ish legit cup contenders in the West, and 6 or 7 you can make a case for in the East, and there's teams that are out of the playoff hunt right now that also could become capped or cup contenders, including in the West, a team like Colorado, who I think we're going to hear from them. You would think the Flames might get their act together. Who knows? So this is when it gets fun, and we start have a new cliche every day.
Okay, Aiden Hill tonight.
I mean, so you're going to tell me then if you start Aiden Hill tonight, then you're telling me that most likely Aiden Hill is going to start 2 or 3 games against the Metro, and I think Cassidy has shown his hand a little bit about his trust in Aiden Hill. For whatever reason, there's something not working there. So no, it's going to be Logan Thompson tonight. And Aiden Hill will start one of the 2, probably against the Islanders, I would assume.
The Islanders, because they're slumping. Yeah, the Islanders are not playing well. The marquee game here, well, there's a couple of them. The Devil game's going to be tough. The Rangers are surging. And the one thing about the Rangers is that they have the fewest man games lost. And so they're a pretty healthy team this season. And that obviously is helping them out now as they're starting to get their act together. I think they beat Carolina last night. But yeah, in any event, I just think that this is going to be how many points would you say, if we were to make a prediction, would it be 3.5, the over under for this
3 on the head, 3 on the head. And I'll just hope the public goes on both sides here. Plus, and to book the bets.
Throw a hook in there, either 2.5 or 3.5.
If I'm going 3.5, then it's a plus. I mean, if 3.5 points is like plus 150 and under 3.5 is like minus 170.
Okay. I think, yeah, the only game.
If it's 3.5, I'm taking the under. I mean,
they'll beat the Islanders. I think they'll beat the Islanders, but I don't know about the other 2.
Hopefully. But again, the road is a comfortable place for this team. So let's not completely, remove the fact that things are going well on the road. So maybe they will have a good, successful trip. And that's 4 points. 4 points is success. If it's, 1 win, 2 shootout losses over, I don't care. 4 points would be very good. Obviously, if they can ride off into the All-Star break getting 5 or 6 points, again, that can really make people feel a lot better. And who knows? Supposedly Theodore and/or White Cloud were making the trip. So, and Howden. So we might see 1 out of those 3 coming back this weekend, which would be really good. Yeah. So who knows?
Unless they're on vacation,
good things could be ahead.
Yeah, they could be on vacation, like Marcia So just went down to SoCal, caught some waves, I'm sure, and all that. Coming up next, we'll have our predictions and our locks of the night. Stay with us right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Our next partner has a product that we literally use every day, myself and Chris. I started to use Athletic Greens myself because it just happens to be here in Vegas. We are always on the run, and it also helps to optimize my immune system. And for the past few months, I really enjoy it. Super healthy, doesn't taste that chalky kind of taste. It is mild. It is a tropical taste, and it really is one of those acquired tastes that you really get used to. And with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food-sourced superfoods, probiotics, and yes, even adaptogens. And I really did find out about it by hearing all of their advertisements. And of course, they sent me some of that product, and I'm hooked on it now. So you get a lot of multivitamins as well, cost less than $3 per day. And there's a lot of testimonials. If you just go out there and Google Athletic Greens, you'll find more than 7,000 5-star reviews, which is amazing. And right now, it is time to reclaim your health, especially right after the new year. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs for your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Kollick here from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a lot of those very funny comments that we could comment on Friday when we do that show. Yesterday I went to, they have this preview Las Vegas show, right? And I'm a little bit off script here, but all of the major sports that are coming to Las Vegas and events and what have you, we will have, the Super Bowl here, and they're talking about economic impact, right? Economic impact for the Super Bowl originally was about $500 million. They're saying 6, 7, maybe $800 million, for the
I know
city.
where you're going with this, but keep going. I'm excited to hear the number.
So for Formula One, though, the richest sport in all the world, right now they're estimating $1.2 to $1.3 billion in economic impact here. And what we're asking is that, you know where I was going with that?
I knew you were at Formula One. I missed your question though. It went out for a second, but I heard you say Formula One. So yeah, I mean, Formula One's going to be so exciting. I cannot wait to see what that brings to the strip and everything. But you had a question there, I think. I did not hear that.
I said all we want is someone to sponsor our show, just a little bit of that money, send our way. F1 money, Super Bowl money, what have you. Okay, it is prediction time. The Rock, the Prudential. So we got a little gold bar there. Nice. That's the mini one.
The mini.
Okay.
That was a gift from my buddy William for hand delivering him a big card he hit in one of my boxes I opened for him.
That's so cool. Now, which card did you show yesterday on your Facebook page?
Oh, geez, it's getting packed away right now. But it was so I'm opening a ton of this stuff right now. If I can do this without knocking anything down. This is the newest hockey release, Skybox Metal Universe. It's a product that just came back out, but it's actually a throwback to a product that used to be out. And the cards you're chasing, they're called PMGs. They're considered precious metal gems. They're just pieces of paper. They're not actually precious metal gems. And of course, I hit a very, very, very rare card. It happened to be Tom Wilson of all players last night. So that was kind of, it gave us a chuckle on the street, but it was a beautiful card. It really was.
Okay. So what's the value of something like that?
I mean, if it was Alex Ovechkin, it could be a $5,000 card. Tom Wilson, you probably take off a zero. It's probably $400, $500, $600 to the right person. It could be a few bucks more even. Who knows? If the right Caps fan is in love with that card, it could be an $800, $900 card.
Awesome. Thanks for the update. That's pretty cool, though. I saw the card and I was like, "Boo!"
It's exciting. It's a feather in the cap for someone to pull one of those cards. It's really exciting.
How cool. Let's get our predictions and our locks of the night as VGK goes to the land of Dasco, back in my old hood. They'll be playing at the Prue or at the Rock.
Well, you start since it's your hood.
It is my hood, and I'm definitely going to go with Jack Eichel to break out of this mess. And I'm going with Chandler Stevenson. And I think we could see a good night out of each one of those. And I wonder what the mental state is currently for Jack Eichel, because he's getting ragdolled right now from the organization. Again, the head coach, the fans are starting to get a little anxious about him, but you and I believe that he will, be the top guy eventually here as soon as they figure things out and how to play his line and building a consistent line with him at least.
If you can't figure it out in 50 games, when the heck are you going to figure it out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And listen, Boone Jenner, if that's the trade acquisition, that's not the answer either for Jack Eichel's line. Now, the answer is Mark Stone and Chandler Stevenson. I mean, that did work for a very long time. Although Eichel was going a little slower before. You got a score for tonight, by the way?
Yeah, even with the familiarity of Bruce Cassidy and the East Coast teams and all that, I'm still going to go with the Devils tonight. I think it's a low-scoring game because, again, puck possession, I think, will be important in this game. And if the key, again, is if the Devils get out to the 1-0 lead, how does VGK respond? So I'm going to go with the 3-2 NJ Devils victory. And a little known fact. Okay, so this guy here once worked back at the old Brendan Byrne Arena days for one summer, season ticket sales for the New Jersey Devils.
How'd that go?
That's why I'm doing the entrepreneurial thing today. It went so well. No, it was going great. And then I got other job offers and what have you. And so I just was poking around. But no, I did that for an entire summer. And it was a lot of fun. And I got to watch hockey practice. I know we're just a couple of novice guys, right, that don't know anything at all about hockey. I know that. But it was so much fun. It was fun because I got to watch them practice every day right there in the arena and hang out.
Being around the players, even at my level, and I don't cover this team nearly. I don't have the time, simply just I have to prioritize my business because this is, we'll call this a hobby. We'll call this a hobby. It's a great hobby, and I friggin' love doing this. And I do hope one of these days I can get to the point where I can go to every single practice every day and, really, follow the team, do a couple roadies and things like that. And hopefully that time's coming. We'll like Tony said earlier, and I'm holding up my gold bar here and stuff, we'll see. That's the first step in that direction. So where I'm going tonight, Tony, first of all, I'm with you on 3-2. I'm with you on New Jersey Devils winning. I'm taking a shootout loss. So I'm feeling just a little more of a game that VGK is going to be in. I don't think it's going to be, I just hope it's not going to be that feeling, oh crap, the Devils scored the first goal. Here we go. And we're chasing the whole time. I could see, a nice low scoring game. Maybe VGK scores first, but 3-2 shootout loss, just because I think it's going to be a close one. And Korczak and Paul Cotter, that's who I'm looking at. Korczak has been improving game by game on the offensive side of the blue line. He can play defense. We know this, and getting more comfortable with his positioning. He's been playing with Braden McNabb a lot now. So I think there's some familiarity happening. And Korczak is also not afraid now to take a couple of chances and pinch. And he's been right around the net a few times. So let's see if Korczak can get that first NHL goal tonight. And Paul Cotter, he had a fun game on Saturday night, a real fun game, good hands around the nets. But we need to see Cotter, not do it when not pad his stats. We got to see Paul Cotter get some more meaningful goals than what he did Saturday against the Caps. So Cotter, Korczak, 3-2 New Jersey Devils in the shootout. Prove me wrong, VGK. Please prove me wrong. But I'll make this point again. Everyone was so happy on Saturday. This team turned a corner. Nope, they have not turned the corner yet. And the team that they beat on Saturday, where we thought they turned the corner, did not even want to be at that game. I don't care what anyone says. If you watched that game or if you were at the arena, that was a disinterested Washington Capitals team outside of Tom Wilson, who is doing what Tom Wilson does. He goes berserk at least once every game, and otherwise he was actually pretty quiet. So I'm not digging what VGK is doing right now, but maybe on this road trip they can give us some hope as we get a little time away from the team the following week with the All-Star break.
Yeah, we'll know if they are still in the funk if they start to fail on the road. Okay, so
they did already, but maybe the back-to-back thing, whatever. I mean, let's if this is a 1-2 road trip, the funk has not gone anywhere. Or if it's God forbid 0-3.
Yeah, it would be pretty bad going into the All-Star break. Then they have 2 games on the other side of the break. So we'll find out what this team is made of tonight.
Definitely in the next 5 days, no doubt. We're going to learn a lot more. I mean, if they go 0-3 here, that's all of a sudden they're not in first place in the Pacific. They're all of a sudden, there's not a big gap. We've got a few minutes here, but the gap from where VGK is to where trouble lies is not that far at all. It's not about everyone wants to say, yeah, we're in first place. Sure, fine, whatever to that. But in the division right now, Tony, 60 points, VGK, top, but Seattle actually has a better win percentage right now. So technically, if the season were to end,
2 games in hand.
Yeah, exactly. If the season were to end, Seattle would actually get the bump over VGK, but that's another story for another time. 60 points for VGK, 59 Seattle, 2 games in hand. LA Kings 58, but VGK has 1 game.
Played the most games of any team in the division, I believe. Yeah.
Yep. And then going down now to Edmonton and Calgary, 57 and 55 points. On the other, and 57 and 55 is the cut line, I believe, for the wild cards too. So we're 5 points from not being in the playoffs. Forget the fact that don't tell me we're a first place team. Tell me we're 5 points from being out of the playoffs. That's much more realistic.
Okay. We'll see how Logan Thompson reacts going into the All-Star break too. He's been a little functified as well. I mean,
the whole team is. A
few minutes ago, but yeah. But LT, he needs to really have a bounce back performance.
And yeah, I mean, they're going to Aiden Hill out. Get Aiden Hill some more love. Why is Aiden Hill in the doghouse?
Yeah, I can't understand that. So what's his record now? Does he have 9 or 10 wins? He's at 9.
I'll tell you in less than 15 seconds.
I forgot. I think he was at 9 wins last. We saw, did he hit 10? Did he hit 10? Do I hear 10?
So right now, Aiden Hill is 10 and 4.
10. Yeah, he did hit 10.
He's got a 271 goals against and a 905 save percentage. He needs more time. He needs more games.
Well, there's a piece that could be shoppable, right? There's one of the players that they could shop. So hopefully VGK gets back Howden.
And he's got to play that. He's got to get more games if they're going to shop him.
We'll see who's out there on the ice today, but definitely this weekend we will see one of those 3 players at least show up. We thank everyone for tuning in. For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. We appreciate you so much listening to us, watching us on YouTube. Please subscribe. And thanks again for making us your first listen and watch each and every day. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights.